Hey guys, welcome to week 39 of Books Being Sick. I am Nick. We got a lot of book stuff to talk about today. Real quick, I'm just going to close my windows because the traffic on my street is, it's not crazy, but, you know, the buses go by and it's like... So if I have the windows open, it's a beautiful day. It is a friggin' beautiful day. It is like, put on a light whatever and cover your arms and be comfortable, not sweating, but not cold. You know, it's just the perfect in between right now. Perfect outdoor reading weather. I want to be out there so badly right now on my front porch reading my next book, which I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. Maybe you can help me with that. But let's jump into it. Today, we are going to be talking about the book club overview. We've read 8 books for the Sick Book Club so far, which is kind of insane. It's been a really fun journey for me so far. A journey. Yeah, don't want to be dramatic about it, but you know, it has been very fun. I watched the new Salem's Lot movie. I watched Pearl last night. I had not seen Pearl yet, which is the follow-up to X. Some book pickups. Finished Last House on Needless Street. And again, just kind of talking about maybe what my next book is going to be. So let's jump into what books we have read so far for the Sick Book Club. Because the cool thing about it is everybody votes on what the book's going to be. Everybody in the book club just throws in their poll option. And so because of that, the variety of books that we read is pretty insane. I think anyway. I mean, it's not like we're reading, you know, about math and then reading about how to plant flowers properly. But I feel like the variety is pretty cool. So let's go through it real quick. I'll show you kind of what the book club is like and what kind of books we read there. The first one that we read was Kujo by Stephen King. And, you know, this felt appropriate because it was the first book that we were doing for the Sick Book Club. I'm a huge Stephen King dork, and so I think people were just kind of giving this one to me. There are also a ton of Stephen King fans in there as well, so that had a lot to do with it. But Kujo is one that I had not read, and which seems weird because it's one of his more well-known ones, and I absolutely loved it. If you've not read Kujo, give it a shot. It's the only weird thing about it is there are no chapters, so it's just kind of like one constant stream of consciousness. And Stephen King also is not afraid to do things and end things in a way that might not align with your standard story. You know, but I like it. He takes chances, and he definitely takes chances with this ending, and I appreciated it, and I thought it was really, really good. And also just the sickest cover of all time. So, Kujo, Stephen King was the first book that we read. And then we jumped into... I actually have I don't have them in order here, so I'm not going to do that. But we also read High Fidelity by Nick Hornby. This is basically about a man who is just trying to figure out what is going on in his life relationship-wise. You know, all of his relationships have ended, and his most recent one has just ended, and he's trying to figure out why. He's convinced none of the relationships that have gone bad in his life are his fault. And to prove that, he kind of goes back to figure out, like, yeah, no, I'm not the problem. And it's, you know what, it's just really funny. I feel like not everybody will love this one. I know not everybody loved it in the book club, but I thought it was really, really funny. British humor, very dry humor, very hilarious to me. I was laughing the whole way through, and I thought it was great. I'm not usually I wouldn't say it's a comedy book, you know, there's a lot of heart in there as well, but it is just our main guy is to me just very hilarious. So I was just laughing because of that throughout the entire book. Next up, Donna Tartt's The Secret History. This is what do you call this one again? It is school dark academia. Demia? This is really, really cool. I've never read a dark academia book before, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to be up for it. I had a feeling I was probably going to like it a little bit because I love those dark academia late 90s movies that were such a big thing for a minute. Cruel Intentions, all that. And this was awesome. This was written in the early 90s too. There's a lot going on in this book, and it's a perfect amount of mystery and just total fascination with these rich people, and you're just kind of like, how, it's just fascinating to be in these people's world, you know. That's why I liked it so much. And Donna Tartt's writing is fabulous as well. We also read Cormac McCarthy's The Road. This is very sad, very bleak. If you've seen the movie, or of course read the book, you will know. I've actually not seen the movie yet, but I've heard it's quite good. I want to check it out because I did really love this book. This was my first Cormac McCarthy book, and you can actually kind of fly through this one. I feel like this one took me about 4.5 hours to read. Not crazy long, but it was really, really good. As a dad or as a parent, I would say, I don't know for sure, but I would say it's maybe a bit of a tougher read because we are just following a father and a son in this completely destroyed world trying to survive together. So, obviously there are going to be some sad moments in there. The writing is bizarre, but unbelievable. For the first couple pages, you might be like me and you might be like, what is happening here? I don't this writing's crazy. But I swear by page 3, you'll just like something's gonna click and you're just gonna, wow, this is great. It's a very unique writing style, but once you get into it, which does not take long, it is so cool. We also read Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. This was a surprise to me. I threw this one into the poll just kind of as a like, I have that on the shelf and I've wanted to read it for a minute. But everybody was so pumped and it did end up winning. And it was great. I have to say, this is maybe the most surprising book of the bunch because I thought it was just going to kind of be a rehash of the movie, just in text form. Not the case at all. The book is actually quite a bit different. It starts a whole lot different. We get a lot more of the initial outbreak of dinosaurs and all that. And it's great. the mystery of like what is Hammond doing on this island too. I really, really enjoyed. There's a lot of build up to before we actually get to the island, and it's really good. It's really good. A lot of surprising deaths in here that don't happen in the movie. Not to spoil anything, but really, really good. If you even sort of like the movie, give the book a try. It's really well written. You can tell Michael Crichton put a lot of research into writing this book because there are some things you're just like, how do you even know that? I feel like he was a very, very intelligent person, and it really shines through in his writing. I want to say maybe he was a scientist. I actually feel like I read that somewhere. He might have been a scientist. I'm not sure. The most recent one I finished, my phone keeps beeping, sorry. The most recent one I finished just yesterday is The Last House on Needless Street. This is really good. When I first started this, I was kind of like, I don't know, okay. But I would say that the twists and turns in this book really worked for me. I knew something was going on. I knew there was something with, like what's going on with this daughter, what's going on with this cat, what's going on with all these people. I knew there was something there, but I couldn't piece together what it was. And when it did kind of come together, I was like, oh, wow. It worked for me. It really worked for me. Is it scary? Because this is October. This is this month's book that everybody's just reading. I already finished it. It was our horror month. Is it scary? I wouldn't necessarily say it was scary for me. I think maybe some people might find it scary. For me, it was more just kind of the mystery and intrigue of these characters and the story, and then, the kind of, not whodunit, but the kind of like, what exactly happened here was interesting enough for me, and I really, really liked it quite a bit. Katrina Ward's writing, too, is beautiful. I can't wait to read more by her, because I thought really, really, really nicely done. Cersei is the only book in the book club that I didn't finish. It just was not, it's one of those things where it's like, it's my own book club. It's my book club's book. Like, I gotta read it. I'm doing the live at the end of the month. We do like lives at the end of every month for where we jump on and talk about the book. But I was just having one of those things where it's like, life is too short and I'm just not enjoying this. I did get I gave it a fair shot. I got about 150 pages in. I was so bored. If I'm being completely honest, I was like, oh my goodness, which is weird because I actually loved Song of Achilles. I thought Song of Achilles was so good. I read it in a day. I was totally hooked. This one was just not getting as hooked into it, and I don't know why. Maybe it just wasn't maybe a mood thing. Maybe I just wasn't in the right frame of mind, but yeah, that was a pass for me. Finally, appropriately, this is the last one on here. This is maybe the best book that I've ever read. It is that good. It is that good. It is absolutely incredible. It's East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This was the book that we read last month. I was so excited that this one won the poll because I've wanted to read this one for quite some time, and I guess I was just kind of looking for an excuse. Everybody, since I started talking about books, has been telling me, man, I feel like you should read East of Eden. You're going to love East of Eden. And then when I started reading Steinbeck, I read Of Mice and Men, and people were like, read East of Eden. And then I read Grapes of Wrath, and people were like, read East of Eden. And I was like, it was getting so pumped up that I was kind of like, oh man, I feel like I got to give it a breather. So I'm not like, the hype doesn't ruin it for me. But then it did end up winning the book club, and I did read it. And it is It is just one of the most incredible things that I've ever read. I'm still trying to decide, it's hard, it's kind of silly to be like, is it my favorite book ever? Like, it's like, who cares? But I do like trying to figure out like a top 5 list of my all time and kind of have it forever liquid and moving. East of Eden is in the top 5. Is it number 1? I'm not sure yet, but it's up there. It's just incredible. If you haven't checked it out, it's not scary at all. That's what I want to make sure you know, because when I was going into this, I was like, this is probably I'm really gonna have to put my thinking cap on here, and the writing's probably going to be pretty tough to understand, and it's probably going to be pretty deep and just like very intense. This story and this writing is totally approachable. I feel like anybody could jump into this book and just be totally enamored by this writing and the story and the themes and just the overall message that this book throws at you. It's for everybody. Definitely check it out. Don't be intimidated. It really is one of the greatest things ever written, I think, and I'm so glad that our book club got to read it, because it was fantastic. So those are the books that we've read for the book club so far. Kind of a fun 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll see, next month is going to be Stephen King month, so it's going to be all Stephen King books. We're going to be getting into another Stephen King book. I'm not sure what's going to win. I think I'm going to put on some books that I've already read, because I've read so many. So I feel like that's only fair, because I know a lot of people haven't read books like Pet Sematary or what have you. So I'll put on I'm going to have some B-sides, some kind of like, ones I think I really want to read that I haven't read yet, but I'll have some hits on there as well, and we'll see what happens. Okay, moving on. Really quick, I just wanted to talk about the Salem's Lot movie that came out on Crave. I thought it sucked. I really didn't like it. I swear, I went in with zero expectations, because for those that don't know, this movie almost didn't see the light of day. There were a lot of rumors that the studio was going to just destroy it for tax purposes, which seems to be a thing that people are doing these days, which I'm not a fan of at all. That being said, HBO did buy it and release it, and if you like the book Salem's Lot, which the book Salem's Lot, trust me, is incredible, I would probably just steer clear of this one. It might just bum you out, because it is just lacking all the heart, soul, and liveliness and life and just like energy that the book has. It's bad. Don't watch it. However, do watch Pearl. I watched Pearl. I'm so late to the game on this one, but I watched it last night, which is the follow-up to X with Mia Goth. And, Mia Goth, I think that movie confirmed for me, she is one of the best horror actresses working right now. I thought she was so good. She's so creepy, and her smile and her face, it's like, it's great. It's quirky. It's fun. I had a really good time watching Pearl, and I think you will too. It's not brutal. It's not, again, not really scary. It's just a quirky, fun, good time, and I liked it quite a bit. So if you're looking for just a more fun Halloween movie, check out Mia Goth's Pearl, because she's crazy in a good way. Okay, I'm going to talk about some book pickups that I got here. I have a few. I can't remember. Did I talk about these ones last week? I don't think I did. I'm gonna talk about them here. Okay, actually got quite a few book pickups this week. So starting with Hell House by Richard Matheson. This is a classic horror book that I've not got a clue what it is about. I actually just thought that cover was really, really cool. And I know there's a Hell House movie, which I have not seen. And this is just kind of one of those ones similar to The Exorcist, where I feel like you're supposed to read it, like Rosemary's Baby. It's just one of the ones that's written back in the day that you got to check out. Also, I got Atonement by Ian McEwan. I mostly picked this one up because Stephen King put this at number 1 on his best books of the 20th century list. So I got to read it, and I remember watching the movie and really, really enjoying it. So I think it's going to be good. I don't know. I also got, of course, The Winter of Our Discontent by John Steinbeck, because I'm going to be continuing the Steinbeck train. I've heard this one is really sad, so I'm looking forward to that. I just love being depressed. The Pearl, also by Steinbeck. That is a really, really quick one. You could probably read that in an hour and a half, probably, I'm going to say. And I've also heard great things about this one. Just similar maybe to Of Mice and Men in the fact that it's short, but it packs a punch. So, looking forward to those. I bought this one on a whim because I'd heard a few people... Well, I guess not on a whim, because it was sort of... I had heard of it, but... I've heard so many people say that Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe is just phenomenal. One of the best nonfiction books that they've ever read. And I wasn't going to pick it up because, honestly, it's super intimidating looking book. The Secret History of the Sackler Dynasty, I don't even know what that is. So I actually have no idea what to expect from this book, but a lot of people say this book just drove them insane in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, just the story was like, how? So, yeah, it's apparently pretty riveting. Empire of Pain by Patrick Radden Keefe. I'm looking forward to getting into some more nonfiction this winter. I've been missing it, honestly. I promised myself I wasn't going to do this, but I did buy the new Stephen King Shining cover. You can see the face back there. Isn't that great? I actually don't really own a cool copy of The Shining, and it's such a fantastic book that I figured, I saw it there and there was one left, so I was like, it's fine. I also got Incidents Around the House by Josh Mallerman. This is a recent horror book that I've heard is fantastic, kind of from the point of view of the kid in the house or something like that. I'm not totally sure. I just keep seeing on socials a lot of people say that this book is pretty phenomenal and actually very scary. So looking forward to that. I kind of already talked about The Last House on Needless Street. Again, I would just check that out. And for my next book, I'm trying to figure that out right now. It's going to be between... I don't know if I brought them up here. I don't think I did. So it's going to be Between Two Fires, this one here, by Christopher Buehlman, or... it's going to be Revival by Stephen King. Now, I feel kind of dumb. Like, it's October. I got to read a Stephen King month. I was kind of like, well, next month is going to be Stephen King month for the book club, so I just wait? But I think I got to read a Stephen King. But then it's like, do I just reread one that I love, like Pet Sematary? I don't know what to do. So my next book's probably going to be one of these two. It's maybe leaning towards Between Two Fires by Christopher Buehlman. I read kind of the synopsis or like brief summary of what this book is about, and it sounds insane. It sounds like a really fun time, actually. And I didn't actually know that this book was a horror book when I bought it. I had been wanting to pick it up for forever. Could never find it in stores, so I eventually just had to buy it online. But then it showed up, and it says right here, An Epic Tale of Medieval Horror. I did not realize it was a horror book. I thought it was kind of more of like a fantasy historical fiction book, which I think it is as well, but excited for the horror element. And I've heard such great things about that one. So, that's going to be it for week 39, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I had this coffee here. This coffee has cinnamon in it. You know, my wife, when she makes drip coffee, she puts a little sprinkle of cinnamon on the top to give it a little whatever. Tastes like Christmas. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think cinnamon's good for you. I don't know. If you want to join the Patreon book club, the Patreon and book club are the same thing. It's all hosted on Patreon. I'll have the link below for you if you want to join that. No pressure. We are reading Last House on Needless Street this month, and I will have the poll up for Stephen King month probably next week. So that's going to be fun. Guys, once again, thanks so much for tuning in. I really do love doing this, and I love that this is a thing. So, appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your whatever, and love ya. Bye.